Hello, welcome back. As you can see, I've got all the LEDs stuck to the inside of the lid, and as I suggested, very easy stuff really. Peel the backing off, stick it on. I said to stick it on in different directions, and then reality dawned and I could have stuck it on in any direction. All you've got to do is make sure that you go plus to plus and minus to minus, of course, and it's clearly marked on there, although it's ever so tiny. I think I did a close-up of it last time so that you could see on the strips how tiny it is. Can you still see it there? No, it just goes out of focus. I might do it. No, I'll just go out of focus that. But believe me, it does say which is plus and which is minus on it. So you can see it. What I've done is, so far, I've stuck all the LEDs on. I mean, it's finished basically. And if I turn it on, it's, there you go. It's really quite bright. It's far brighter than I had before, which was just an LED light on a stand that shone through the top of this. All I've done here, as I say, is stuck the LEDs on. I've stuck a piece across the top here, the edge here, because I'm not going to waste it, and this loop of wire enables me to fold it. Oh, you can't even see it. There you go. Fold it in half like that, and then unfold it again, and makes it nice and easy, so the whole thing folds away. Put it in a cupboard and forget about it until you want to paint something. The wire I've used is wrapping wire. I use this for pretty much all of the electronics on the trucks. Let's see if you can see that better if I turn this light out. Yeah, I think you can actually. And it's 24 gauge wire. It's very, very thin wire. And put that back on so we can see. As you can see, holding it against my finger, even with the insulation on, it's very, very thin. If you use this, it's fantastic for wiring your trucks up if you decide to wire your trucks up. And you can, the wires look like real cables and air lines and all the rest of it underneath your truck. It's really quite clever stuff. Obviously red and black, and I use a yellow one as well, which I use as a common wire, so I know what I'm wiring and where. But if you use this stuff, it's a solid core wire, and I think you can get it on Amazon for £8 for a roll this size, and there's about half a mile on it. I think it's 1,000 meters, but anyway, which is a kilometre, isn't it? It's about £8, I'm sure it is, for each roll. A lot of people will tell you that you need to buy specialist cutters for them. I use a pair of these for trimming the insulation off wire, and they work absolutely perfectly. They really are great. But if I use these on there, I just cut it in half. It's as simple as that, and end up with a big piece of wire inside that I've cut off. There you go. Yeah. So the way to go is, let me cut that off now, and then you can see what I'm doing. The way to trim it, if you use this, is your thumbnail, and just put your thumbnail on it and give it a gentle pull. And I don't know if you can see that now, guys. Can you? No. I've got to try and find myself in it. There you go. You can just see that it's stripped the insulation off, but you can see how fine the wire is. It's ever so thin. Ever so thin. But that's the way to go with it, with your thumbnail. Don't pay a fortune for wire cutters to strip the insulation. You can see it a bit better there now. It strips a longer piece off. But if you use things like the your normal white insulation strippers, you'll just cut it in half. You really will frustrate yourself. So that's that. That's wrapping wire. Solder it onto the pads. The way I would advise you to do it, I'm only telling you this, I'm not trying to teach you to suck eggs, because people have asked me as I've gone along if I would show them how to do some of the wiring. And let's see if I can get that a bit closer. No. Very hard to focus on these tiny things. They just go out of focus. That's not bad, is it? How about that? Why is it moving around like that? Oh, look at that. That's cooking on gas. I like that. Right. These little copper pads, where am I? There. Yeah, okay. These little copper pads here need to be tinned first. And what that means is put a bit of flux on them. Liquid solder, electronic flux. Put flux on them. Be liberal with it. It won't hurt anything. And then a little blob of solder on each of those pads, on each of the pads that you're going to use. When you've done that, the very thin wire that we've just talked about, if you heat the solder up and then push the wire into the heated up solder, so you push the wire into the solder that you've just heated up and then move your soldering out, it will solder it, as simple as that. Don't try using let me wind back out again. If you try to use the soldering iron and solder at the same time, it's going to go very pear-shaped very quickly. You won't be able to do it, to be fair. So it's called tinning. If you tin the contacts first, the little copper pads first, and then warm the solder up and push your wire into it. I use the soldering iron at 400 degrees and I use tin lead solder because it's got a much lower melting point than tin and silver solder. And I'm old school. I always used to use lead solder, tin lead solder. So it's 60-40 tin lead solder if you want to go for it. The tiniest bit of lead in it won't do you any harm whatsoever. And you can see that I've soldered all of those. What I do also with these tiny, very thin wires is a little bit of super glue. I buy these from, I think it's Poundland. You get 2 for £1. Fantastic. About $1 for, if you're not from the UK, about $1 for 2. And once you've soldered it and it's gone cool, then put some super glue on the contacts, and because the wire is so fine, so thin, gives it that extra bit of strength so it doesn't snap. Once I've got the wires in, then again, to make sure that they stay in, put a bit of tape over the top of them, and that will save them getting caught on things, my fingers in particular. Because once you've ripped it off, then you've got to start again, haven't you? So best to make sure it doesn't fall off. Bit of tape at the back here, bit of masking tape, because I've super glued that wire down, and you'll see why when I put this on the top of the spray booth in a minute or two. Exactly the same with these 2 wires, but a much heavier gauge wire. So this very thin wire would snap. So it's about 5 times the thickness. I can't remember what gauge it is now. But a silicone coated one, so it's nice and floppy. You can bend it around all over the place and just fold over. If you make yourselves a spray booth, you might not need that. You might make it all in one piece. So that's how I've stuck them on, and that's how I've soldered them all up. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of light comes out of there. It's frightened the camera into changing its light source. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set the spray booth up. I'm going to put this on top of it so that you can see it in action, so to speak. Right then, so I've got it all put together. The lid's on it. I've got the whole thing assembled properly this time. I was rushing the last time I assembled it, and it didn't fit together properly, but it's all sorted now. So that's together, and if I switch it on, got that, more light than you could ever want. Yep, fantastic that. And that's about it. That's all there is. It's done. Any comments rather, questions, comments, good or bad, please leave them in the boxes below or drop me an email. I'll be only too happy to reply. And have a great Christmas. I know people might not be watching this at Christmas, you might be watching it after Christmas. But if you are, have a great Christmas and a good new year. I'll speak to you again on the next one. See you soon. Ta-da!